I actually think the war on drugs is and was a conspiracy.
Okay.
In the way that perhaps history isn't a deliberate conspiracy to justify the creation of a police state. That's one of the things that the war on drugs has done.
Yeah.
You know, that because somebody privately in their own home is smoking a certain substance, the police have the right to break down the door of that home, arrest that person, humiliate them, take them off to prison and ruin their lives. And the ideology that accompanies it says, and this is okay, because taking drugs is a bad thing. That's what we've been taught, you know, for so long. I think that it's partly in the interest of Big Pharma to keep the control of these consciousness-altering medicines in the hands of Big Pharma. And it's interesting with the growing legalization of cannabis in America, it's not going to be long before we see Big Pharma stepping into that marketplace as well,
yeah,
and trying to take it over.
The tobacco companies are already starting.
They've already starting, yeah.
Yeah. What do you see with the legalization of cannabis in many states in America? There's talk of psilocybin being legalized in Oregon. I don't know if that's going to happen. What do you see? Because we are seeing a change.
Yeah,
big
change.
And what do you see we need to keep looking out for in those changes?
Well, first of all, anywhere in the world that takes away draconian, unnecessary laws and says to people, actually what you do in your own home, as long as you don't do any harm to others, is none of the state's business, I have to applaud that. I have to applaud that. And I have to applaud the American people, state by state, who have refused to put up with the bullshit any longer and who've taken it to the ballot box. This is something Americans are brilliant at and Brits are not good at, is this domestic level action, getting things done at a local level, getting things changed. And with the state system in America, you can do that. You can actually have a ballot proposition, people can vote, and lo and behold, the laws change. I just read recently that California has just gone through the process of expunging almost 10,000 criminal records, unnecessary criminal records for people for possession of marijuana, you know. The great thing about that legalization is they're no longer burdened with that criminal record. And a message is being sent to the big state that actually the inner sanctum of an adult's consciousness is none of the state's business. None of the state's business at all. And actually the state will pay a price if it makes it their business anymore. So I think it's a great thing that America has done there, that the American people have done. This is not the American state that's done this. This is the American people, state by state, making decisions for themselves, asserting their sovereignty over their own bodies, their own health, and their own consciousness. And that's a big wake-up call, because nobody was really thinking about the war on drugs in that way before, that actually it's an intrusion on individual sovereignty. It's an abuse of human rights that is going on there, and that's the wakening up that's taking place. And as a result of that wakening up, the right of the state to intervene in our private lives is being questioned in lots of areas. Lots of areas. You know, the state has to stay away from many things. So I'm in favor of course there are dangers, and you know, Big Pharma, the commercialization, entering this arena, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's difficult to avoid it in our society. I think the great good has been the recognition that adults have sovereignty over their own consciousness and that the state has no right to interfere so long as they do no harm to others. I think that's the great takeaway from what's happening in America. And it's unstoppable now. And it's going to affect lots of things beyond so-called drugs. In every way, it's a big change of attitude that's taking place. And I take it as a sign of people waking up from a century of sleep. And I therefore take it as a positive sign. Yes, we must watch out for the dangers that come with Big Pharma moving in on this area and taking control of it. But we shouldn't forget the huge benefits that have come from the courage of the American people in actually doing something about this instead of just sitting there passively and accepting that they are not sovereign over their consciousness.